Hello and thank you for joining me today. I'm Sandra with the Hamilton Library. Hamilton Library will be providing a limited number of Canon Rebel T6 cameras available for checkout for teen and adult customers on a first-come, first-served basis beginning June 1st. Throughout the month of June, we will provide a series of videos on Chandler Public Library's YouTube channel with beginner photography tips. Additional videos will be available through the calendar and YouTube. Cameras must be returned by Saturday, July 10th. In this first video, I'm going to walk you through the buttons and dials on the Canon Rebel T6 camera and show you what everything is used for. But before we get started, let's go over what's inside the bag when you come to the library and check your camera out. All right, so now let's talk about what's inside the bag when you check it out from the library. You're going to get this little cute Canon camera case. You're going to open that up, and first of all, I'm going to pull out the 18 to 55 millimeter lens. You have your Canon camera body. We also have the telephoto lens. This is the 75 to 300 millimeter. You have your battery charger. You have your USB cable. You have your battery. And you also have your instruction manual. You're going to go ahead and want to read that, the English version, because there's several types of languages in here, so I believe it goes up to like page 111 is going to be your index. So just that little bit, that's the instruction manual. Want to go ahead and become very familiar with that. You also have your SanDisk. This is a 32 gigabyte SanDisk card. So that's what's inside the bag. All right, now let's put it all together. All right. So here you have your camera body. First thing you're going to want to do, the battery is fully not charged, so since it's fully not charged out of the box, it's best to fully charge the battery up to help ensure maximum battery life for now and in the future. We're going to go ahead and insert that battery right in here, just like this. We're going to have those little gold prongs. The word Canon is going to be facing you. I'm going to insert that right in there. It's going to lock into place. Next, I have my SD card, and that label is going to be facing you. And the SD card, you're going to insert, the slot is right next to that battery there. So I'm going to insert it right in there, and I'm going to push it down, and it too is going to lock into place. I'm going to close that up. All right. So now with my lens, you'll notice that on the camera body here, you'll see a white dot and a red dot. On most lenses, you will also see a white dot, and on some lenses, you'll see the red dot. So we're going to go ahead and match that white dot up with this white dot. So we're going to match it up just like that. You're going to click it away from you, and you're going to hear a little click, and that's going to lock it into place. So that lens is on there tight. Alrighty. So now that we have both the lens attached to the camera body, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to point out AF and MF. AF stands for autofocus, and MF is manual focus. I usually leave mine here on AF, and I only use MF when I am using my macro lens and I'm trying to get that really tight shot. So like those hairs on that fly, I want to get those. I'm going to use my macro lens, and I'm going to use manual focus. So I'm going to switch that over to MF. But usually that's, like I said, only when I'm using my macro lens. Right now I'm not. I'm using the 18 to 55 lens. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot that over, push that over to AF for autofocus. Stabilizer, I always leave that on for camera shake. It helps prevent camera shake. So that's those buttons there on the lens. All right, so now let's go ahead and familiarize ourselves with some of the camera buttons. We have here the power switch, the on and off button. We have the mode dial to quickly control your camera zones. We have the shutter button for taking the picture, so that's right here. We have the autofocus points, this little picture right here. That's the button right on the back. That's the autofocus point selection button. This button right here with an asterisk, this one right here. This is the AE lock button, and it's also used for back button focus, which is another whole class. We have the aperture exposure composition. That's this AV button right here, and you see the little blue trash can. That's also the trash can button. We have the display button, which is right next to it. We have the Q for the quick control button. We have the menu button. You can set various settings with the menus, such as the image recording, quality, date, and time. We have the set button, which is right here in the center of these cross keys here. So that's the menu button, or that's the set button to set the desired setting. The cross keys are which it says ISO, AF, WB, and this little button right here on the left-hand side. So ISO, that's the ISO speed setting button. WB right here on the bottom is the white balance section selection button. We have the AF, which is the AF operation selection button. And then we have the drive self-timer selection button right here on the left. We have the live view movie shooting button right here on top. That's the little camera next to the red dot. We have the microphone. You'll see these little 3 dots right here in the front. That's the microphone. And then we also have the speaker. So you'll see some little dots right up here, and it looks like the a cross or a plus sign. That's the speaker. Then this little guy right up here, this is the viewfinder. That's what you're going to look for, look through, sorry. This is with autofocus points for quick focusing as you take the photos. Right up top, we have that flash. And if I go like this and turn that camera on, you're going to press this little button right here with the little like lightning bolt / arrow, and that's going to pop up that flash. Just like that. All right, we have that hot shoe, and that's for adding an external flash. If you wanted to put something, a bigger flash right on top, you can go ahead and insert that right into the hot shoe. We have our fixed LCD screen, so that's what's going to display. If I hit menu, so you have all your settings right here, and if I hit menu, you can go and toggle through. You can use these as your toggle buttons, up, down, side, left, right, and go through that. There's the menu, and that's going to show your settings, what you have your camera set to. Alrighty, and as well as your captured images. All right, so now that we have the battery, the SD card, and our lens on, let's go ahead and turn that power. Let's go ahead and turn this this camera on. We're going to go ahead and set this switch here, and we're going to select on. And you'll notice on the LCD monitor, it will display all of the current function settings currently applied. Next to that on and off switch is the mode dial, and we will go into a little bit deeper and explain what all of the different modes are on this dial in just a few moments. This button right here, like I showed you earlier, this is the flash, okay? That's the built-in flash, and when simple push of that button, your flash is going to go ahead and pop up. Then you have your main dial right here. This one right here, you can go back and forth, back and forth. That's your main dial. And now right here, you have your shutter button. Now this button has 2 steps. You can press the shutter button halfway, then you can further press the shutter button completely. By pressing it halfway down, this activates the autofocusing and the automatic exposure system that sets the shutter speed and the aperture. And by pressing it completely down, this releases the shutter and takes the picture. So I'm going to go ahead, and I have some little building blocks in front of me, and I'm going to go ahead and take that picture, hit the playback button right here, which is here on the bottom. It's going to show the picture that I just took. Alrighty. All right, the mode dial. This is the mode dial. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this. The mode dial includes the basic zone modes, the creative zone modes, and the movie shooting mode. First, we're going to go ahead and go through the basic zone modes. This little white dash is pointing to the green mode, which is auto. And it's just that. The camera's going to do everything for you. It's going to select your ISO, it's going to select the aperture, and it's going to select the shutter speed. So it's doing everything for you. If you turn it to the next one, you'll see the little box with the flash signal, the lightning bolts, and it's crossed out. That is auto mode, but without the flash. You know, when you're in a location such as a church, a museum, or a show, and there's a sign that says no flash photography, you're going to want to make sure that you move that dial to this setting. So that's not going to allow your flash to pop up. The next one is CA, which is Creative Auto, CA, an automatic mode for simple settings of background blur, built-in flash, and other settings. Our next one is Portrait Mode, which is a picture of the profile of a girl. That's portrait mode for portrait shots. Backgrounds are going to be blurred. Your subject is going to stand out with smooth skin tones and hair. The next one, you'll see it's like a mountain and a cloud. That's for landscape. This is for landscape shots. You're going to have a wide depth of field. Your foreground and your background is going to be in focus, and you're going to have some sharp images. The next one, you'll see it's close-up, and that's a flower. And it's close-up, for close-up shots of those small objects such as flowers. Shoot as close to the subject as possible when you're shooting in this mode. The next one, you're just going to have a picture of like someone running, getting ready to run. This is sports mode for continuous shooting of subjects in motion. Shooting with the viewfinder is recommended on this guy. So make sure that you look through your viewfinder. The next one, you'll see a fork and a knife, and that is for food photography. If you turn it one more time, you'll see a little box, and you have a picture of a person, and then there's a star right on top, and that's for night photography. And then the next one, you'll see a video camera, and that is for video. All right, so that is your basic zone modes. Automatic, auto mode, creative auto, portrait mode, landscape, close-ups, sports, food, night, and your video. All right, I'm going to switch this all the way back, and we're going to go ahead and put it, line it up with the letter P. So the letter P, this is the beginning of your creative zone modes. These modes will give you more control for shooting a variety of subjects as desired, as you desire. The P is for program mode. You'll see it listed as PE. So if I switch it back here, you'll see it as P, and it's PE, it's program mode. All right, so it's full auto, but it will unlock some extra settings for you. The next one is TV, and it'll show you back on the LCD screen. TV is a shutter priority. This means that you set the shutter speed, and the camera will do everything else for you. The next one is AV, aperture priority. You set the aperture, and the camera does the rest of the work. Now, the next one is M. This is manual mode, and this is your goal. Manual mode, that little M right there. This is your goal. You set everything yourself, and the camera does nothing for you. Alrighty? You set everything yourself, and the camera isn't going to do anything auto. It's going to be all you. You're going to set those settings. You're going to set that aperture. You're going to set that ISO, and you're going to set that shutter speed. All right. So those are the program, the mode dial. This little guy right here I didn't mention, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about that right here. This is the diopter. To see a clear picture in the viewfinder, you must first set the diopter. It can be found at the top of your camera body, right here where I'm pointing. And you're going to turn it. You're going to look through the viewfinder, and you're going to turn that until whatever you're looking at and those focus points inside the viewfinder are sharp. Alrighty, so that's the diopter. Awesome. Now that you know a little bit more about the camera that you'll be checking out from the library, the fun part is taking it out and using it. Practice, practice, practice. Fail and learn from it. Capture that perfect light, the mood, the story, that expression, that perfect pose. Those are some of the things that make a beautiful picture perfect. Now it's your turn to go out and have some fun. I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.